everybody. Hello and welcome. Welcome to this evening's show. Good to have you here. It's 7 o'clock. I was lowering the wrong soundtrack over here. It is 7 o'clock on the August 20th, 2025.
That's not true.
I know, Jay, but it is. It is very true. It's the 20th of August.
What do we do?
How did we do?
No, what do we do? Is there a rewind button?
I don't know. But, obviously for you and I, in a joint respect, there has been a big clock, a second clock or an additional clock. There's probably several clocks that are ticking down. But the event, all year is an idea that we were really, poking through actually last December.
Yeah.
And we wanted to see if it was possible to get something started. We went to the venue back before Christmas to see if it was possible to do something for the spring.
That's right.
And we realized we're going to need more time with this. Let's make it a fall thing. And so since last December...
The fall is approaching.
The fall, I mean, dude, it's been eight straight months of work. It's about to just blow past us. Before you know it, it'll be a few weeks. It'll be behind us.
That is always the way it happens. Every single time, whether it's a retreat or whatever it is, you put all that effort in and then it's over in a flash. And usually you have a great time and you can't even remember what you were worried about. But when you're in the middle of it, the stress is real. Well,
it's 8:20, but to that thought, it's 20th of August. So on top of whatever jobs people are working and however you fill your time up, the more that you heap on, the faster the hands on the clock start spinning. It's like the Twilight Zone. But it's fun because you learn things along the way. Yeah. You become a little bit tougher. Tonight we're going to introduce everybody in the first half to another new friend of ours, the third sponsor of the event. They do very interesting work, especially when it comes to cell health, longevity, and all that. We use their products now, and we're going to talk to Verso in just a little bit, and it's going to be on the heels of this. It's going to be on the heels of this little New York Post article. The 10 foods are. We're not going to go through the 10 foods thing, but I want to talk to you about blue zones real quick.
Oh.
Because a friend of ours is now, I guess they're closely linked now to a very newly established blue zone in Sicily. We'll do that in a second. We'll be back in the second half of tonight's show. A little bit of longevity, a little bit of cell regeneration, and fun, informative stuff with a supporter and a sponsor of the upcoming Jamboree. And then for the whole second half of the show, we've got mixed news. We've got some pretty interesting things. I got some music-related stuff, responses from the show, the audience from a few things over this past week. Funny little clips, time for calls. It should be a nice night. A little bit of everything, which is what we usually get when Jay comes by to hang out. And Jay, thanks for making all the time to come by the last few weeks leading. But obviously, you needed to come in a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we knew this was coming, and it's always fun to be here. I'm just always worried about wearing out my welcome on a show that I have been so welcome on for, I think this year, Frank, this September or October, it's going to be 4 years. Because we did this last year. We realized it was 3 years. I think so. It's going to be 4 years in a few weeks.
Wow.
Which is wild.
Yeah, well, if you would have told me it was 5, I would have believed you too. I was
recently fired from the hospital. That's always why I'll remember. My first appearance on your show was within days of being either right before or right after being nuked from the hospital. So
you can overstay your welcome if you like.
Okay.
We have good conversations. We can go anywhere with things, I'm in a new mindset now where I've been working on getting a whole number of people from around the area, old friends of mine, whatever, getting them ready to start coming in and talking a little bit more frequently. I just we have so many great people who call into the show, but we need more asses in the seats. It's a totally different experience.
Yeah.
So let's get this started. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, friends.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
The next event that we do is going to be so good with the with live music, especially after this week, Jay. I miss putting together shows. I miss being the whole thing about knowing where our placement on the bill is, who's coming by, the promotion, and just seeing people you can't. I love it.
Yeah.
Concerts are the best.
Yeah,
so.
Man.
We'll see. That's next on the agenda here.
Because there was a time in your life where you probably did so many of them that you were like, I got to do this again. And then you miss it after a while. I mean, not that there was never a point for me anyway where I didn't love to do it, but it's definitely work. I mean, it's definitely work. And sometimes, it's a whole day or two of your life, depending on where you're traveling and what you're doing. And so it's time consuming. It's like a second job.
Well, gigging is one thing. There were times where, once you've been around the block around here or anywhere, any region, and where the hot spots are and where it'll be, and perhaps there's not a lot of people in a given place. If you're a band or any kind of performing act, you'll know where there's just a lot of general local interest in the scene is healthy. If the doors are open of a venue, there's going to be a packed house that night. People just want to go out and get drinks, see who's playing, have a good time. And then there are places where you're going to have to bring a crowd.
Yeah.
And those are one of those things where you have to plan those shows out. You cannot take on more than 2 or 3 of those a year. Because you can't, if you want to talk about overstaying your welcome.
Yeah.
You can't ask the same 50 people to show.
You can.
I know.
You can.
But you're not.
It doesn't always go so well.
Right.
Did I ever tell you that, we'll talk about this in the second half, but I don't know if I've ever told you on this show, but I actually played CBGB 2 or 3 times.
Wow.
What an incredible place. Just the history.
You got to talk about that because I'll tell you, I have some CBGB stories.
Oh, do you?
Never got in there.
As a band.
But, we were, I'll tell you an interesting little thing, and maybe I can go and find the music video that we did. It'll be an interesting little thing to do in the second half tonight. And, I just love thinking about it. It's been it's gotten me, I don't know, I feel like the juice is flowing again after this week.
Yeah. You step up on a stage like that and the people who had been up there, that was a trip. Like just even walking in for the first time, I remember, I can tell you all kinds of stories about, so you were in there? You were in there as a concert goer? You ever see a show there?
No, that's what I'm saying. I've never been to the location.
Well, then I got to tell you a story about the men's bathroom.
Yeah, well, we will. If it's anything like the men's bathroom at the trash bar or something like that, I'm very, I don't know. We'll talk about it. Very common thing at some rock clubs, especially the old school ones. When you're talking about men's rooms, there's a lot of toilets that just don't have any dividers. I've seen that where 2 toilets sitting side by side, no divider. You're just
CBGB's wins. They didn't have a door on the front or a door on the men's room at all.
Well. Yeah.
And it was located at the bottom of the staircase. So when people came down the stairs, they were looking right into the men's room.
Into your eyes.
Into your eyes as you were on the throne. No joke. When I first went in there, I was like, oh no, I went in the women's room. I was like, this is not happening.
Well, listen.
I had to change. I had to change for the show. But I was like, no way.
First of all,
It's incredible.
First of all,
no
you
shame.
have to take a dump before you leave home.
Yeah,
All
you
right?
don't do that at CPG.
The only thing you're doing at a club like that is number one.
Ah,
And you just, ski across the floor.
incredible.
And that's just
Incredible.
I don't know.
And the men's room had no mirrors. Like the women's room looked like a respectable bathroom, but the men's room looked like what you would picture a punk club. I mean, there was just nothing in there but urinals and one regular toilet and just no mirrors, no nothing. I'm like, how does anybody do anything in here? It was incredible. I guess they wanted guys in and out. Like get in, get out. The women, they're fine. The men, no. You're not going to be behind a closed. There must have been a story behind why there was no door on the men's room at CVGV's.
probably.
Yeah.
It's probably something that was never repaired.
I came
too.
upstairs. I must have looked like such a rookie out of nowhere because I came upstairs and I was like, do you guys know that there's no door on the? They're just like,
are you asking us this? Is this really a question?
Well, I just want to make sure you know. I just want to make sure you know there's no door down there.
Hey Jay, before we bring on our guest for tonight, I wanted to throw this thing up onto the screen and ask you a very roundabout question because we don't have time to jump in, and neither do I really want to get into it. No, that's not it. Hold on. Where the hell am I looking at here? Oh wait, yeah. Wait. It is window capture. Wait. There you go. All right, so I saw this on New York Post. 10 foods are great for anti-aging, including 2 blue zone staples and a dessert. Now, I don't want to go into all this stuff, but since it brought up blue zone, do you know that Tony Black's village in Italy, in Sicily, is, I think, a recently designated blue zone now?
I did not.
My buddy Benny, who is from Tony Black's town, he just came back from Italy out there. Benny will be at the event.
Oh, that's right.
With his wife, and he was saying, it's a blue zone now. There's a lot of people here hitting 100. And here's Tony Black with the genetics of that town.
What's the name of the town? Do you know?
Oh, man, I have to.
Sorry. It's okay.
If he's watching, he'll text me.
Okay.
But of course, whenever I read into this, there's a lot of Mediterranean diets,
right?
A little bit of fish, a little bit of fresh produce, whatever the hell like that. What are your thoughts about? Is there any? Because I can't imagine, like with anything, there's not one clear cut reason why. But blue zones around the world, whether it's in, the Sea of Japan or the Mediterranean or anything else like that, is it those Mediterranean diets or is it something else?
I mean, it depends on how you define a Mediterranean diet, but the truth is there's too many definitions. There's not one homogeneous Mediterranean diet, right? Even within the Mediterranean region itself, there are some areas that eat more red meat, some areas that eat less red meat. But the theme, I think you hit on it, it's actually multifactorial. Their nutrition is usually very local, very seasonal, and whole food based. So that includes meat, that includes produce, that includes fish, that includes, natural oils and fats, all those things. They don't eat low fat diets. They don't eat vegetarian diets for the most part. It's a wide variety of healthy foods. They're in the real sun without, slathering on sunscreen. Again, we're talking about older populations. They have community. They walk a ton, right? They do all the things that we know we should be doing, but that our modern life pushes us away from. No, you should eat a fake Impossible Burger because that's clearly better than nature. And you should put on sunscreen, SPF 7000 because we know the sun is trying to kill you. And you definitely should just order Uber Eats and not go out, even to take a walk down to the corner store to pick up some groceries because, well, it's way more convenient. And you should spend all your time on a screen all day long. Those are the things that tank your health. So I'm convinced that human beings are meant to live longer and, more importantly, healthier lives. But our environment has dictated. It's almost like you look at it in reverse. Those cultures are more what humans are supposed to be like. It shouldn't be the anomaly to be a centenarian, but it is because our current lifestyle is just so detached from what reality is. How many people have trouble sleeping? How many people have diabetes? How many people have Alzheimer's? Those are not natural things, but they become natural because of the environment that we're steeped in.
Yeah, and well, especially sleeping. I mean, I've been going through the ringer, but our guest tonight, I've actually have had so much incredible success with sleeping, especially in the new kind of eating habits I've been establishing. As you know, prior to fasting and all this other stuff, there was never a night that I wasn't going to go to bed and not be able to just stay, because I usually had an entire cheeseburger just sitting in my stomach, just hanging out there because I had just eaten it an hour before.
Right.
I was sleeping like a baby. But of course, then I learned that I'm causing some kind of metabolic disruption to myself by doing that.
Sure.
So when I started going to bed a little bit more lean, I found it was hard some nights to get through. Get through. And then I started a little bit of salt in the water, and then we found Evening Being by Verso, and I want to talk about that, and just of course, just I want to bring on Daniel and Christabel right now. Are you guys right there? Are you guys hanging out? I see you in the waiting room.
Yeah, we're here.
Oh, hello. Good to see you. How's everybody feeling tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, we're good.
Great.
We're doing well. So here, everybody, I'm going to introduce you to Daniel and Christabel of Verso. That's ver.so. The link is in the description and also on the on the Quite Frankly affiliates page. So you guys, I don't know if you were listening before the show, but we were just talking a little bit about something that's right up your alley, and that is, longevity and what makes the human body just act a little bit more leaner and cleaner and get the most out of life for as long as possible. Tell us a little bit about why you started Verso, the story of the company itself, because I think that we're really going to be in line with these mindsets right now.
Yeah, so interesting. Longevity has become so popular over the last number of years. Dan and I have always been really into health and longevity. A lot of people think longevity is how to live your longest life, but we think longevity is how to live your best life for as long as you can. So we started this company in the height of COVID. We were listening to a lot of podcast scientists and health experts, and someone really stood out during 2019, 2020. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with David Sinclair and his work.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
He released a book called Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. So in that book, he explains a lot about his theory of aging, which is called the information theory of aging. And he thinks we don't actually age because our DNA breaks down. Our DNA itself is pretty stable. We age because the system that reads our DNA, called the epigenome, gets scrambled. So every cell in our body actually has the same DNA, and the epigenome is actually what decides whether that cell should act like a brain cell, a skin cell, a heart cell, etc. But over time, stress, aging, environmental factors that we're exposed to, like radiation and pollution, damages the DNA by wearing down the epigenome. So the cells itself starts to lose its identity. So a skin cell can start acting like a nerve cell or a partial brain cell. And, a brain cell can start acting like a skin cell. And with that, wrinkles can appear, neurological conditions can start to develop, and it's really damaging. However, the good news is we actually have these built-in defense mechanisms in our bodies. We think we have several of them. Scientists argue which one's the most important, but I think they all are very important. And what Dave Sinclair has really focused on are these longevity genes or enzymes called sirtuins. When DNA damage occurs in a cell, the sirtuins can actually run to the damaged cell and reset it. However, the sirtuins run on a fuel called NAD. And as we age, NAD declines quite significantly, about 50% every 20 years. And so by the time you're 50, levels are already half of what you had in your 20s.
Can you go into that, the NAD in particular, what it is? Because if you go to the website, and I know that people have been checking it out, and they've been asking me questions that I couldn't wait to get answered tonight, and one of those is NAD, especially in, I think that was in the that's in Cell Being.
Yeah,
because I was looking at that here before, and that pops up a lot in the literature that you have on the website. So talk a little bit about that in particular, because it seems to be really, really key to a lot of what you do.
Yeah. So I was going to get into that. So NAD is found in every single one of our cells. It's like energy in our cells, and it also fuels these sirtuins to help repair your DNA, but it declines as we age. And there's certain things that you can do to increase your NAD by fasting or taking exogenous molecules like NMN, which we'll lead into with cell being. But yeah, you could also exercise to increase NAD, but then they go back to their baseline, which is a lower level as you age. So NAD is very important for your cells to maintain youth, and these longevity genes, sirtuins, to repair your DNA. So if we don't have enough NAD, our sirtuins can't actually do their job. So DNA damage builds up, and our cells forget their identity, and that's aging, from what David Sinclair states.
Yeah.
So we can't actually take NAD as a molecule. Like, people do sell NAD supplements that just contain NAD, but you can't. Our cell is like too small for the NAD molecule to actually get into. NAD is a pretty big molecule.
Right.
So what we've done is we've created cell being with NMN, which is a precursor to NAD. So NMN can enter the cell directly and convert into NAD itself, so increasing cellular NAD. We've paired cell being with a couple other ingredients to amplify the results. So it includes resveratrol and TNG as well. We don't produce single ingredient products. We like to incorporate ingredients that have synergistic benefits.
Yeah.
So when you take one of our products, you have a host of different benefits, not just one thing.
I gotta say, so that's incredibly cool. And just because because the audience knows how much I love mitochondrial function, and I've probably mentioned mitochondria in the last 4 years. I don't even know how many times. But so Cell Being was the first product of yours that I was introduced to. And I think at the time, I think maybe the year was 2022, maybe, but it was the only product that you had. And somebody handed it to me at the first retreat for Perpetual Health, which is the company that I run. And it was just so interesting because it was one of the first times I was exposed to that molecule and what it does. And so that always sent me down a rabbit hole. And that precursor molecule, I just want to hit on what you said there, because I think a lot of times we try to outsmart the body and we try to like jam a supplement in there in order to fix what we perceive as a problem. But what I love that you just said, and my philosophy also is similar to like glutathione. It's not always wise to supplement with glutathione. Sometimes providing NAC, N-acetylcysteine, a precursor to glutathione, allows the body to use it the way it wants. And so NMN being a precursor to NAD, I think is a clever way of doing it and also allowing the body to use it how it wants. And for people who know how much I love mitochondrial function, NAD will accept electrons and bring them through the Krebs cycle, bring them into the electron transport chain and help the mitochondria produce energy more efficiently. So you also get some of those benefits aside from the sirtuin. So I love the molecule, and I love the philosophy behind allowing the body to take a precursor molecule and then kind of do with it what it will. And then, by the way, I also take TMG as like a totally separate thing. So I love the fact that you're doing a combined synergistic supplement, because TMG is really great for methylation. There's a lot of research on it being good for fat loss and muscle gain. Those are at higher dosages, but I think it's super cool that you're kind of working these things together, and that's the unique properties of some of these products. So I just wanted to interject that because I can't miss an opportunity to talk about the mitochondria.
Well,
Everybody knows that.
It's also great that here we have another COVID project.
Yeah.
You know, you want to talk about
some of the best things that came out of COVID were some of these companies.
Talk about some silver linings right there. So, but when here's the thing, guys, I'd love for you to just riff on this a little bit, because I think it's germane to the topic. But anyone usually who reaches the age of 90 or 100 they usually there's a news camera that shows up to the nursing home and asks them the same question: what's the key to living so long? What'd you do? And the answers are always very interesting. I stayed away from fast food. Right. I had fast food.
I drink a lot of rum.
I drink rum. I do smoke. I don't smoke. Right. But when you guys are formulating products to keep people healthier longer, at least on a cellular level, cellular repair. Where did you begin with that? Was it the what was that last one again? NAD plus. Was that the real building block that started the foundation of the whole thing, or what was it?
Yeah, so the foundation of it was cell being, and we wanted to not just put a Band-Aid solution on different effects of aging. We wanted to target aging from the cellular level and from different aspects. So David Sinclair and other scientists believe that the loss of NAD as you age is a primary factor into why we age. So by targeting that and increasing NAD levels to useful levels, we're theoretically targeting aging from that aspect.
Okay.
So from the source itself, and not just necessarily, putting a Band-Aid on a symptom. And a lot of our users have experienced and left reviews on, they've experienced weight loss with our product and more energy, and just different experiences of like what you would have felt back in your youth at an older age. That's which is cool. Interesting because you're targeting aging at a cellular level and experiencing all these benefits.
Yeah, I was just go ahead, Daniel.
Even our like personal experience was like very interesting because it was still pretty early on when we started taking this, and we weren't really sure like what to feel. We had read all the literature and listened to David Sinclair, and it was all this stuff about like longevity, and we're like, great, our 90-year-old selves will thank us for this. But what we didn't expect was that in the short term we would feel much more energetic, and at least that was what we both felt, was that we just had more energy, and we're like, man, I just have so much energy. I have a lack of fatigue is more what it is. It wasn't like coffee or stimulants where you're like kind of jittery and anxious, that type of energy. It was just I have a complete lack of fatigue. I can push more weight at the gym for longer, which was totally bizarre because it was a bit of a blinded, and we weren't expecting that. What I mean, it's probably not placebos because it wasn't something we were expecting as a result. This was super early on. NMN, NAD, all this wasn't really in the public discussion at the time. So we weren't really sure that we weren't sure we were gonna expect those type of results, but that was what we experienced.
Well, I think I just want to say real quick, I think it just hit me now, because when you said that, I think it's a lack of fatigue. That's such an interesting way to put it. And when I think about the name of some of these products, Cell Being, and maybe I'm being kind of dense here because that's what you intended, but then I think like human being, I think, this is like returning us to a natural state. So it's not a stimulant. It's not something that's going to, hop you up and then you're going to come down and crash from. The reason that maybe people experience theoretically different effects from it is because essentially you're putting the metabolic machinery of the human body back into alignment from a biochemical perspective. And when that happens, whatever things aren't working optimally that start to work optimally, you then feel that as an improvement. But it's not like you said, it's not like an above and beyond energy drink or something like that. It's just finding what it actually feels like to be a human being again, which I just think is really kind of a profound thing, really. Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's also the aspect of genetics versus supplementation too. Mm-hmm. Everybody always tries to break that down. Maybe you guys have some quick thoughts on that if you wanted to throw it in there. But there's always people wondering about the genetic aspect of why one person is, seems to be getting on better than somebody else, even if the other person is working extra hard to try to be healthy or whatever, versus supplementation. And you read a lot about things like telomere health, or you have that weirdo Brian Johnson that's doing all the blood transfusions with his son. It's those things like that are always popping up. But there's also natural things that what I love about Verso, in particular here, is because you have the Cell Being, but then you also, when we get into like the Evening Being, I want you guys to talk about that for a little bit, because natural things for keeping people healthier longer is just going to sleep. And a lot of people have a lot of problems sleeping. And
you guys don't know how much he loves this product because he's been struggling with sleep. And so the evening being is like he really loves this product.
No, yeah,
which is great.
First of all, visually, it's just very calming to me with the saffron.
It is absolutely, yeah.
And it's got that tang to it.
Yep.
But can you guys talk about this for a little bit about how, obviously sleep is just a natural way of repairing damaged cells and immune boosting and all that other stuff. So it's a support for natural function like sleep. But what else is going on inside of things like the evening being that people should know about? That's that they should know. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just quickly touch base on what you said about your genetics and centenarians. So it's actually most people, 20% of your DNA is actually responsible for 20% of how you live, and the 80% is dependent on your lifestyle, your nutrition, your exercise, etc. But for centenarians, it seems to be just 100% their genes, essentially. So they can smoke, they can drink and eat fast food or whatever, and they can still live to 100, 120. There's like several documented cases of centenarians that drink and smoke and do whatever they want, and they still live that long. But it is not the majority of people. So
not a good plan.
Yeah. So
if you're planning on your life, that's not the way to go. Right.
Yeah. So it's only a very small fraction of people, and those are the centenarians. But for us normies, our genes only determine like 20% of how we live, and the 80% is up to you. And I think that's something important to note for everybody.
Good point.
There's the different pillars of health. There's your sleep, there's your cardiovascular, there's a bunch, right? Yeah. And exercise, etc. So sleep, I think if anyone was trying to get on a health kick, what they should focus on the most is the sleep, because sleep is the foundation of all. If you have a poor night of sleep, it actually puts you in a pre-diabetic state.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
So then the next day, you're basically pre-diabetic. Your glucose regulation is completely out of whack. You tend to crave really bad food. And then with your glucose regulation off, your metabolism off, it just shoots your glucose up, and you go up and down. You're tired, and then you get jacked up, and that's just one aspect of poor sleep. I'm a mother, and I've experienced my share of sleep deprivation through postpartum with a waking baby every 2 hours. So I do understand the issues with sleep and how it can affect your mental health, your emotional health, your physical health. You actually, when you don't sleep, you have poor sleep, your empathy actually goes down as well.
Wow. You're right. I have absolutely no empathy left.
Yeah. I was like angry the whole time I was postpartum. I didn't have postpartum depression. I was just
Daniel,
angry.
yes.
Mostly Daniel. So sleep is a big pillar of health that people should focus on. And I think that culture of like, I'll sleep when I'm dead is kind of dying, no pun intended, just because people have realized how important it was. So we started actually taking evening being because I was suffering from postpartum, and I couldn't sleep. So I would wake up to feed the baby, etc., and then I would have a hard time falling asleep. So I tried to play with different ingredients and to see which one would work. Melatonin. I even got on a stint of pharmaceuticals, and nothing really worked. So we did a lot of research and came up with these ingredients. The ingredients that we use are clinically studied, patented, or trademarked. Dan can get into detail about them. They have been shown in multiple human studies to positively impact different stages of your sleep and sleep quality overall.
Yeah, I would love to hear more about that. And Daniel, and also the quality, because we were talking before we went live. The quality is so important because I'm obsessed with quality. There's a lot of supplements on the market, but if you're not, the the sourcing is so important, and the understanding of the synergistic effects. And so, speak to any of that, because I think that's really valuable information.
Yeah, I mean, just quickly, like, it's a lot easier to formulate encapsulated products, at least for us, because all you're doing is, you're speccing out the formula, and you're finding the purest thing you can for that ingredient, and you don't really have to worry about too many other things. That's kind of the easy part. So you'll get, a certificate of analysis. You'll test on the inbound when it comes into manufacturing before you make anything, and you'll test the finished goods for heavy metals, microbiology, and potency, right? That's super standard.
Okay.
For what we do. And we publish our third-party test results on the website.
That's super cool.
Ver.social testing for every single batch we do. It's just sort of for our transparency, right?
Yeah.
That's one of our reasons why we started the company.
Yeah.
But way more easy to make encapsulated products from that point of view, because you're just speccing these ultra pure ingredients, putting them together, finished goods testing, what's in there. There's no mouthfeel, solubility, taste, all that stuff.
Right.
When you get into those things, it's much more difficult to formulate a product. That's why it took us 3 years to make Evening Being and Morning Being. Not because it was like hard to find the ingredients, like just doing the research to find the ingredients was a lot of trial and error. Like Cristobal said, like our cupboard and kitchen turned into like a chemistry lab, trying to find out which ingredients worked well for us, especially for her as postpartum. But it's all the other stuff that gets added into these drinks. So if you just go to like standard formulation repertoire, it's like, yeah, we're going to throw in all this nasty stuff or things people might not like xanthan gum and other excipients or masking things for flavor or solubility. Basically things that are not considered clean label. So to get a product that tastes good, has a decent mouthfeel, and is soluble is incredibly difficult with active ingredients.
Hey, can I ask you what creates what creates the tang? Because when I first mixed the Evening Being into water at night, I was praying that it was as tangy and tasty as it looked. And I was pleasantly surprised, but obviously it's not tang.
Yeah.
So I want what is it?
Yeah. So again, keeping it super clean label, we use a small amount of natural flavoring, which we can get into if you guys want to at some point, but it's not that interesting. That provides some flavoring. But the real thing that's sweetening it is obviously not sugar. It's a small amount of a standardized extract from stevia leaf itself called Reb M.
Right.
And allulose, which is, I'm sure Jay, you could talk about this for hours, but allulose is a very cool sweetener that's sort of like the Batman to the Joker of sort of sugar versus not sugar. Yeah. It's like the complete opposite of sugar, but tastes just about as sweet. Has all these other good metabolic effects. It lowers blood glucose instead of raising it. So yeah, it was really challenging to come up with these formulas that had clean label, but also tasted good. So using the right amount of natural flavoring with the right sweeteners and not having a ton of other crap in there, or no other crap really that you don't need, while still achieving that. Morning Being was even more difficult because epicatechin, cacao polyphenols, and moringa are just absolutely disgusting on their own.
Bitter.
If you were to take, they're just incredibly bitter. That's why most chocolate is like Dutched. It's a whole other topic, but it's because they strip out all the good polyphenols from it because it tastes very bitter and horrible.
Yeah.
But all those polyphenols and things are in that drink. And so to mask that, you got to use natural things like lucuma, chicory root, and mesquite, and some of these other natural botanicals with a little bit of sweetener and some flavoring and some cacao powder. But that's what kind of did it there. So yeah, super difficult to get clean label ingredients that taste good, and that's what takes years.
Well, more on the Morning Being, because this is something I only really started using every day about a week and a half ago, around the time that Jay recorded his health minute for you guys. Because this is something that he's been telling me, Frank, listen, I've been using this every morning now.
I love it.
And he's been cycling it on and off with his coffee and stuff. Yeah. So maybe you guys can talk about that with, because we got enough time to talk about that and just some closing thoughts. I would love to. Before
they go into this, though, I just want to say today, because I always fast when I come up here. So my day is powered by the Morning Being and by the Clean Being, because I'm doing a fast, and the Clean Being can help support autophagy, which everybody, again, has probably heard me talk about, but that cellular cleanup, right? We talk about Alzheimer's being, damaged proteins in the brain potentially, right? Things like that. This autophagy process is accelerated by a few of the ingredients in Clean Being. So I've been using that on my fasting days, but the morning being, let me just tell you guys, you did a fantastic job with the flavoring, because I love the quality of the ingredients. I love the ingredients, but the taste is fantastic. It is like, I have my regular coffee, and then like sometime in the mid-morning, mid-afternoon, I'm doing more work, and I'm looking over at that mason jar that I have in the freezer full of water, waiting to be able to put that scoop in there, because it is really like a nice little thing. So that's what I'm on today. I'm on Morning Being and Clean Being. So I'll turn it over to you guys, but I just want to let you know, today I'm just being powered by Verso.
Powered by Verso.
Yeah, so I'll touch base on Clean Being a little bit. It's the second product we produced. So as we age, there's these like zombie cells or old damaged cells can infect healthy cells in our bodies. But we have another longevity pathway and defense mechanism. So autophagy actually cleans up these zombie cells and destroys them essentially before they can start infecting healthy cells. Usually with fasting, you can induce autophagy, but it takes actually 3 to 4 days is what scientists have measured of complete fasting for you to activate autophagy. But what they found is that you can take certain molecules that activate the same pathways as fasting.
Right.
So we did some research and we included these ingredients or molecules in Clean Being to mimic the effects of fasting without actually having to fast.
Right.
When you are taking it while you are fasting, you're essentially amplifying your fasting benefits.
That was my strategy.
Yeah, that's amazing. and Morning Being, we created it because a lot of people are sensitive to caffeine. I'm one of them. Even if I take caffeine at 6 a.m, I still have trouble sleeping. So we wanted something that could be a replacement or a substitute for your second cup of coffee. So you're not drinking coffee at 2 in the afternoon and affecting your sleep.
Yep.
Instead of caffeine, Morning Being contains something called theobromine, which is found in cacao. And theobromine actually provides a gentle, long-lasting energy boost without overstimulating your nervous system like caffeine.
Right.
And cacao polyphenols have also been shown to support blood flow, reduce blood pressure, improve mood and stress, reduce inflammation, and support skin health. Actually, there's been studies with cacao that actually have shown to protect skin from sun damage and reduce the appearance of wrinkles in humans.
Huh.
They improve. Yeah, it's fascinating. I think the study was done in Korea.
Wow.
It improves cholesterol levels, enhances metabolism, glucose regulation. So this is all like cacao. A lot of people associate chocolate with acne and weight gain and all that, but that's processed chocolate.
Right.
So when you have it
That's
in its raw
Hershey's.
form,
That's
with
Hershey's.
high polyphenols, high flavonols, you get these great benefits.
Yeah.
And along with Morning Being, we included epicatechin, which can also be found in coffee, and that's shown to increase muscle growth, strength, also improve blood flow, enhance your cognitive function, and it's been shown to accelerate fat loss as well, which is pretty awesome.
In chocolate, you said coffee. Yeah, epicatechin is found in chocolate.
Oh, yeah, chocolate.
Yeah.
It's found in chocolate. It can be found in green tea as well. And I think a lot of people don't know about moringa. It is a superfood.
Yes.
And we've included moringa as well into the formulation. It's very nutrient dense. It actually has 7 times more vitamin C than oranges, 25% more iron than spinach, 15% more potassium than bananas, et cetera, 9% more protein than yogurt. We've included that as well because we wanted it to be like a superfood greens replacement. So instead of having to mix, your greens powder in the morning, make your coffee, electrolytes, we included it all in this one product. So we have electrolytes in Morning Being. I know, Jay, you've talked about that. It has sodium, magnesium, potassium. Overnight, you lose a lot of hydration. So you're naturally dehydrated in the morning. People run to their coffee. Coffee is a mild diuretic. It further dehydrates you. So instead of having coffee, you take Morning Being, replenish your electrolytes, hydrate. You get your superfoods through moringa, and you get your brain and muscle benefits with the cacao and the catechins and the energy from the theobromine. So it's a really fascinating product, and I don't know if there's another product like it.
I haven't seen one.
And you said one that took you about 3 years to come up with, just because of the way the thing. What were you saying, Daniel, about what was the biggest issues with actually settling upon a workable formula to bring to market? What was the biggest issue?
I mean, it takes forever to go through your active ingredients and find out what works, right? So in the case of Evening Being, we're like, what actually helped us sleep better repeatedly, and what's backed up in the literature to agree with some of that stuff.
What was the most challenging was probably the taste, like having it taste good enough for the mass, to like it. And, I'm glad that you guys really enjoy the taste. I do want to touch back on Evening Being. I know, Frank, you said that's helped you sleep a lot. So I'm really glad about that. What have you tried in the past that, didn't help? Did you try any other supplements or anything?
With me, the issues, it really was all about, is once I started eating in restricted windows. And when I started cutting myself off after 5 p.m. every day, and I just ate between, about 11 and 5. And then what would happen is I don't go to bed early. That's number one. I don't go to bed early. I get home. I start getting myself set up for the next day. And before you know it, it's 12:30. If I had gone to bed at 10:30, 11, I probably would have never woken up. But, I started, I'm in some habits right now where I got to get to bed earlier, even if it's just an hour. Because obviously just blocking off 6.5 hours is not, I figure if I go to bed at 12:30 in the morning and I sleep until 7, then okay, it's at least 6.5 hours. But apparently that's not the case. It's just, you have to start sleeping earlier, I guess. But I don't know. Some nights, guys, it would just be sea salt, and that would get me through. Like if I had a hunger pang, or if I I felt like that pit in my stomach where I felt like at any moment I was going to have to bounce out of bed and go downstairs and eat a mountain of cheese, then I would slug some, sea salt and water. But there's obviously so much more in this. There's a psychological effect. I can also say with the Evening Being there too, but you can, I don't know, your body tells you in a very conscious way, oh, there was a lot more in this than just some salt.
Yeah.
And it takes effect. There's no grogginess there too. I know a lot of people get, they're so desperate for some good sleep that they'll find themselves on ever increasing doses of melatonin.
Yeah.
And then they're never really fully awake until like 2 p.m. the next day because they're so groggy. So I like that there's not a lot of that stuff in here. I don't know. I've been just learning a lot about how my body works. I was supposed to do that.
Yeah, so we have this like circadian rhythm in our bodies, and everyone's circadian rhythm is different. And so when you were used to eating right before bed, and then you stopped eating right before bed, your digestive system was used to digesting all that food. So when you weren't giving it food, I think the digestive fluids in your body were still being activated for some time, being like, hey, like I'm supposed to be eating now. Like, why aren't you feeding me?
Yeah.
So that's just your circadian rhythm telling you it's time to eat, when really it was probably not ideal to eat right before bed, because that doesn't allow your body to reset. And,
right.
So your energy actually is focused on digesting instead of repairing itself.
Exactly.
So I'm glad that you've made that change, but that's why you were hungry, and I could see how that prevented you from falling asleep. So yeah, like you said, most people lean to melatonin. Melatonin is actually a pharmaceutical in most countries. It's a hormone. It's not a herb or a vitamin. And a lot of melatonin supplements contain 50 times more than their actually stated dose. So you actually don't even know what you're getting. And a lot of people feel groggy the next day because your body naturally produces melatonin, but in very small amounts. When you're taking these melatonin supplements, you're getting super physiological doses that your body's not used to. hence the grogginess, etc. And they've done multiple studies on melatonin. It doesn't actually improve your sleep quality. It helps you fall asleep about 3 minutes faster than if you weren't to take it.
Which isn't most people's problem from our experience.
Yeah.
It's typically a maintenance issue, not an onset issue.
Staying.
Yes. So melatonin has a lot of damaging effects. I think it works for some people, but not for most.
Or for certain circumstances, like travel, jet lag, it can maybe be useful for resetting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for everyday use, we don't believe that, it should be used, especially at the doses that it's being sold at. And there's other ingredients that can knock you out. So sedatives, pharmaceuticals, they knock you out, but you're not actually asleep.
Right.
They're sedated. So it was very difficult to find ingredients that actually promoted natural sleep. And the ingredients that we use help with the different phases of sleep. So sleep onset, how to fall asleep, REM sleep, deep sleep. And then again, when you wake up feeling refreshed. A lot of ingredients, GABA, melatonin, valerian, they create dependencies and you have a tolerance. If you stop taking, I guess you keep needing higher and higher doses for it to work. It's not the case with the ingredients that we use. We use, like I mentioned, clinically studied patented ingredients. The saffron that you talked about, Frank, we actually source, it's a very premium saffron from Spain. And that's what gives the vibrant color of evening being in your cup. There's no added colors in evening being. It is the color of the saffron.
It actually kind of looks like the Spanish flag, to be honest. It does.
Yeah, there you go. So it's very premium, heavily studied saffron extract that we use. And what's also like not discussed a lot with like sleep or health experts is glycine and the effects of glycine.
Yes.
So we have 3 grams of glycine in an evening being, and that's shown to actually reduce nighttime urination.
Yep.
Also called like nocturia. So a lot of people have mentioned that they've been able to sleep through the night without using the bathroom, or instead of waking 3 times in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, they wake up once and then they're able to fall back asleep. So that's pretty interesting. I think what differentiates our product, not just because of the patented clinically studied ingredients that we use, is the product itself actually helps people stay asleep throughout the night. And if they wake up, they can go back to sleep. So that's what helped me personally with postpartum. And I hear that a lot from our customers and our partners that we work with. Something that's important.
It's so funny because so many of these ingredients I've used separately. Glycine is it also helps reduce core body temperature at night, which can put you into a deeper sleep. So I used glycine because glycine is a little bit sweet. So I use that. L-theanine is another fantastic ingredient that has some really amazing properties for people who struggle with a little bit of anxiety, even at night, like racing thoughts.
Anxiety, lower cortisol, and heart rate. And that helps you ease into a relaxed state so you can drift off to sleep. And I think, Frank, maybe that's been able to help you relax and fall into sleep when you're taking evening being.
No, yeah. And I, just from our conversations tonight, I'm making mental notes about some things that need to be tweaked.
Yeah.
And obviously there are physiological reasons why some people are having a hard time getting to sleep. And then there are other just psychological things.
Sure.
Sometimes you just you lay in bed and you're thinking about 10,000 things, and a salt packet is not going to make that go away.
Right.
So there is that, but there's a lot of physiological reasons why people's bodies are not ready to just release.
Absolutely.
And not release pee-wise, urination, which is actually she was just saying that. But there's so much to be learned, and I hope that we have the link for I'd love to have you guys back some point, especially over the holidays, because I always think that people should be stuffing stockings with things like this for people instead of anything else. And
that morning being, Frank, has got to be like a hot cocoa. I've only had it cold, guys, so I'm
hot is even better.
And you only have it with water?
Yeah, only with, this is the thing. I love it so much, and I've only had it with cold water. So if you're telling me that I, like it's better hot and I can make it with like a hot cocoa style, I'm going to be in love.
Milk or your choice of milk that's how I have it. Like I steam up some almond milk.
Okay.
I have it with some morning bean.
Oh, damn. I might put it in a half and half.
I do half milk, half water, hot or cold. That's my go-to.
Okay. All
So
right.
I do half and half, but I like it iced. Yeah, it tastes. I mean, it depends on your flavor. Like, it's meant to be like when you have it black, it's good.
Yeah.
But if you have it just increases the richness if you have it with milk.
Oh, Daniel,
yeah, it's gonna taste good hot and cold.
But wait, but that will break your fast though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's okay. That's okay. That's worth it. I just ordered a bunch of milk from Amos Miller's organic Amish farm. So now I have a reason now to go to try this milk. I'm super excited. This is fantastic.
Cream?
What's that?
Full cream? Is that like full cream?
Absolutely.
Milk?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my go-to.
Oh man. All right. Well, I got something to try when I
Well,
get home.
one last thing I want to compliment you guys because we can, especially between you guys and Jay, probably talk science and all that stuff and ingredients all night. But just the packaging.
Oh yeah.
Good choices on everything. I don't know what the hell these bags are made out of, but it's almost like Kevlar.
It's fun to touch.
I mean, you could, but yeah, it's like stab resistant. Like you're not. I don't know. So I'm just good job with just the marketing. It makes you excited to try all the stuff that's on the inside of it. Again, the link for all this is in the description of this episode. It's all on the affiliates page on the website. Almost everybody who's attending the Jamboree in September is going to get samples of some cell being, and we're going to be doing some giveaways and fun stuff with that. I just can't wait until more people interface with your stuff and watch it take root in their lives, because it's one thing or another is going to hit. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. It was so nice to be on here and chat with you guys about our brand and our products and the reasons why we created it.
I love talking science with people. It's just it's one of my most favorite things to do. So
yeah, we love geeking out.
Well, this is the stuff I really like making time for. It's the least frivolous thing you can do in your life is to talk about, learn a little something and to also be inspired by what other people are creating. Yeah. So I'm really happy you guys made some time for us tonight. We'll do it again, and I hope that a lot of people go and visit the site. At the very least, reach out, ask you more questions about any of the wonderful stuff that you're doing, and thanks again. Any parting shots? Anything you want to throw out there?
Yeah, your subscribers get 15% off if they use your discount code.
Oh boy,
that's already baked into the link that we put down there. The Verso / Quite Frankly, whatever it is.
You bet. That's the one.
Okay, so there you have it, everybody. It's right there. And again, we'll have you guys on soon. Thank you so much for supporting this first of its kind event that we're putting together over here. We're all working our asses off to make it a memorable time, and with your presence at the event, I know it will be.
Amazing. Thanks so much, you guys.
All right.
Take care.
Have a good night. Be well. Oh, good night. Yes. Good nights wherever you are. Good mornings. Okay, so that was nice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm realizing here?
What's that?
What do I got to do?
Is this some introspection time with Frank?
When she said when she talked about waking up pre-diabetic,
when I did a talk on that,
I was thinking about my blood work that you just Okay, so you were taking a look at my latest blood work,
mm-hmm.
and you said, "Hey, you know what? Your A1C came down."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "From what?" Because you knew the A1C before that,
right?
And you said that you weren't going to freak me out, but it was a little bit high, almost borderline to what some people would say is pre-diabetic. And of course, that was before, getting my eating under control in certain times. And really, that was 2023, the last time I had labs done.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say it came down and all that shit, I wonder to myself, what the hell, how much farther would it drop if I got my sleep under control?
Yeah.
I can't, dude, some of it is I need to use that time to go to before sleep to do some things for the show to make sure. But then there's also just it's just FOMO. It's like I feel like I'm giving up an hour that I can just have some, listen to some radio in the shower.
That's like young Frank, who doesn't want to go to bed because he's going to, quote, miss something. I used to think the same thing, but I always tell people going to bed early is a superpower. I don't mean you got to go to bed at 8 o'clock, but there's a magic in the 10 o'clock hour. And I know that's tough for you because you don't get out of here until sometimes around that time.
Yeah.
But there is a magic in that 10 o'clock hour for sleep. There's a lot of research on that, like how deep the sleep is. Our circadian biology is very underexplored, and you can get the same amount of sleep later, meaning sleep 12 to 8. Those 8 hours is different than sleep 10 to 6. It's different. The brain responds differently. It's fascinating, and it really, everything I do is always to look through that lens of human physiology and biology. And when you see things like that, you're like, well, nature and biology is telling us how to eat, how to sleep, when and what to do with all of it. And it's amazing how we ignore it constantly because we are, like from the beginning of the episode, we are constantly putting ourselves in this sort of evolutionary mismatch with our biology is not in accordance with the lives that we are living right now. And that's for some people, like Christabel was saying, for some people, they can skirt around that genetically. Although in the end, it ends up coming to bite them. I always say to those people, imagine if they hadn't smoked. Like, well, they lived to 100 and smoked. And I always think, like, imagine if they didn't smoke. Because smoking's not good for you. Now you can also say the flip side of that as well. They were smoking like in a community with their friends and stuff. And there is something to that. That's the other part about the blue zones. They are all totally undervalued community. You're not just, if you're chain smoking in your basement, that's not the same as having some cigars with your best friends from childhood, on a balcony on the Mediterranean. That's different, right? So again, you really have to parse this stuff very carefully.
You just made me feel nostalgic for something I never had.
I'm good at that.
I want that. That sounds fantastic.
Well, we'll do it sometime. Maybe after the event.
Oh yeah. That would be great.
Yeah.
Maybe the silent auction will go so well that we can take our families to the Mediterranean.
There you go.
Yeah.
A 1-day Mediterranean cruise. There you go, Mediterranean. Kids, get back on the boat.
It's probably, yeah. Well, hey, that's, I don't know. That's, I'm starting to see.
Well, man, I hope that's what, we do here is like, I hope people look at what we just did and not look at it as, an infomercial for a product, because that's not what it was. It is always, anytime I'm on, I'm always wanting to bring you guys, education with an insightful sort of lens so that you can look at your own life and go, and honestly just say, hey, where can I improve? Because there is nobody, including me, there is nobody that can't improve, right? Nobody. None of us have reached any level of success where we don't need to improve. Anybody that says that is full of shit.
Yeah.
So if you take these moments to go, like I wonder what I could do better with my sleep, or I wonder what do I have a coffee habit that's out of control? Maybe I try the morning bean. Maybe I try switching it up for something that actually has, and I'm a fan of coffee, but some people do coffee way too much and they can't give it up. And that's problematic. So anyway, I hope people take away a little bit, and your audience is so good at this, is taking away the deeper meaning in what we do. And so I'm glad that it caused you some introspection, and I hope it does for the audience too.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna be going home and I'm gonna do things a little. I'm actually thinking about tomorrow doing morning being and then saving my coffee for actually later in the day. I'm actually thinking about doing that.
Just don't do it too late, because you don't want to. You have to experiment to figure out where your sweet spot is, because remember, everyone's different. Now this is something that is genetic. The half-life of caffeine in the system is different based on the specific enzymes that break down caffeine. There are specific CYP enzymes in the liver that break down caffeine. And if you are a fast metabolizer, you move through that very quickly. If you're a slow metabolizer, caffeine can stay in your system for quite a while. So it's not, you have to figure that out for yourself.
Well, here's a little news for you, which is the opposite of longevity.
Uh-oh.
And it's, of course, Canadian healthcare. Where euthanasia is now so popular in Canada, doctors are struggling to meet the demand for people who want to kill themselves.
No, that's not true. Is it?
Yeah. Medical assistance in dying, Canada's preferred euphemism for euthanasia, has become so popular, practitioners are struggling to meet demand. but there's just too many people. We can't kill them all.
Metallica can.
I know. Kill them all. According to government figures for 2023, the last full year of statistics available made accounted for 4.7% of deaths nationwide.
Oh, what percent?
4.7.
Wow.
Dude, 5% of Canadian deaths was medical suicide?
And is it because, I mean,
That's a huge number.
Is there a median age in this article anywhere? Like, I'm talking like...
I don't know, because every time that there's something that comes out of Canada on this subject, it's always talking about how the standards are less and less.
Oh, man.
And even for what qualifies you, some people were seeking to be, offed because they didn't have enough money or something.
Absolutely. I've heard crazy things. And I follow Viva Fry, and he talks about this quite a bit, where you got people that were injured by the COVID inoculations, and the best that the Canadian government could do was offer them MAID. So they mandated them to take a drug, and then they want to kill them after they have side effects. I mean, can you imagine?
Well, here's the thing:
the audacity.
The 4.7 nationwide. That's so 5%. It is 2023. They've been growing by double digits each year since the practice was legalized in 2016, and especially when it was approved in 2021 for patients who are not terminally ill.
Yeah.
What is that?
Slippery slope, my friend. It's just,
I'm
having a bad day.
You're already at the bottom of it.
Yeah, I guess.
You're already at the bottom of it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, and it's totally 100% related when it comes to abortion, for example, because again, if you're doing this with the most innocent, the most vulnerable life on the planet, then there is going to be no shortage of rationalization as to why someone who has outlived their usefulness to the state shouldn't be leveled out, shouldn't be snowed under until, to be able to balance the books. Do you want to hear an even more ghastly, ghoulish number?
I guess.
I have been reading now, just based on the abortion numbers, that based on the numbers, if you calculate all the babies conceived during Gen Z era of 1997 to 2012, okay, from 97 to 2012, 28% of Gen Z has been aborted.
28%?
Based on the whatever is publicly known about abortion numbers. That's what's been going around a little bit lately, and I've been reading it from several sources. I got to get to pull them up, but that's something that I was going to be pulling into. So you want to talk about longevity? You want to talk about putting life on a pedestal?
Yeah.
And trying to improve it? Dude, I'm thinking about that. I was like, wow. Any member of Gen Z who's reading or watching this show right now, consider yourself lucky that you are.
I mean, how is this not eugenics?
It is.
Yeah.
It's genocide.
Yeah.
It's 100% genocide. But
well, I mean, it was started in, people forget the Supreme Court. People love to, the only big bad boogeyman that ever existed in any crazy leftist's mind in this country was Adolf Hitler, right? He's the only bad guy ever, right? Because he's the only one that we can compare, anybody that we don't like today to, right? They have like this remedial understanding of history, and they know that name, and he's a bad guy.
He was history.
Yeah, Hitler is history.
He is history.
And people don't realize that he learned all that from the state of California. He learned all that from the U.S. Eugenics. I mean, we had Buck v. Bell, the Supreme Court case that, what was the famous line by the Supreme Court justice? Was it, if I'm getting his name wrong, I apologize. I believe it was Oliver Wendell Holmes, who said like 2 or 3 generations of imbeciles are enough, basically allowing people to get rid of the mentally ill. And isn't that how it started in Nazi Germany? So, I mean, people just don't ever trace down the truth of history because, again, like you said, for some people, the simplistic idea that Hitler is history is way more palatable than actually This was pretty common in the US, and the Supreme Court even said it was okay at one point. Go look up Buck v. Bell. You want to learn something tragic about human history. Now, hopefully we learn our lessons, but the question is, are we learning our lessons? And I don't know the answer to that, but it doesn't seem like it.
No, but at the same time, I don't like throwing the whole thing out. I was going to say the baby with the bathwater, but that just seems morbid right now.
Right.
But what I do believe is in the fork in the road. So there are plenty of people who are learning.
Absolutely.
There are so many people who are reading, learning, who are thinking, who are reflecting. They're thinking back on their own lives. Mm-hmm. I have done so much of thinking back on the degeneracy. Everything. This is the way that, what we, I don't know. You think back and you wonder where it came from, and you see how you were vulnerable to certain things. Sure. and whatever. And I think there's a lot of people that are taking that into account and are making new choices and decisions based on new revelations that, in a perfect world, we would have gotten from our teachers, our churches, right. if we were going, right. if we were going to church at all, but right. our families had already stopped going at that point.
Right.
So there's a lot of different things, And then of course there are those who are, maybe they're heading straight on the path that they already were, and they're almost indifferent. And then there are those who are knee-jerk reflexively going so much farther into the darkness. There's a splitting.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean, and
that's better than everybody walking in the same direction.
Oh, no doubt. And I often, because you want to find the silver linings, I often look at COVID as a line of demarcation for society. There's a lot of, I know it sounds terrible to say, because we all remember how terrible it was to live through especially if you were really, really awake and understood what was going on during COVID. It was a maddening 2 to 3, maybe 3 years. But in the end, I think it was a net, again, it sounds terrible, especially if you've lost somebody, you lost family members, not literally lost them dead, but I mean like lost them because of the rift in the family. But there's a lot of good that came out of COVID. It did a lot of rattling of the cages, right? In order to create that fork in the road that now you have a choice at least. And I don't even know if some people, Frank, before COVID were aware that there was a choice to be had. Some of us were unraveling that. This is a process that takes a long time, but COVID put it in overdrive. And I think it showed a lot of people. I know history will be the real judge of that, because it's just hard to see it, because we are truly in the middle of that moment in history. But if you've learned nothing else, it should be to constantly check in with yourself. Like I just said about the segment we just did. Ask yourself, if you're ever done learning or you're ever done improving, I will be so bold as to say, I think you're doing life wrong. Right? You should always be in that process. And we can learn things from so many different places. Mentors, there are a million places you can learn things from. So don't think that the environment you put yourself in, no matter where you are, is void of learning. I love to be in rooms with people who are smarter than me, but I also realize I can learn a lot from people who I least expect sometimes to learn things from. And you collect those things and you try to improve yourself. And that is a life well lived. And I am as optimistic as you are that people are learning and people are making intentional choices, not just with their health, but with other parts of their life too.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. And I guess we can start taking calls too. I just want to see what people's out there, what people
Sure.
are doing out there, what you're thinking out there. That when I saw that euthanasia headlines, like, gosh, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
I went into everything else.
That's brutal.
I have some other things some extras we'll do, but you know what? Also, there's super chats. So let me go and see what people are doing there. Jay Britt says, another informative show with Frank and Jägermeister Gulinello.
Hey, that's a new one.
I'm so excited about this place. I mean, as far as how this place is kind of cleaned up, even though I always keep it pretty tidy, but out there, everything's looking good, feeling good. We're so close to, oh man, I don't know.
We had fun on Friday in the band room, hanging up pictures, and that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun.
I gave in extra innings last night after
I saw some of that.
You saw it?
Yeah.
So
I didn't hear the drums though.
I'm telling you, I know. For everybody out there, I'm telling you, whenever we end, when the end credits go up and we do extra innings, just click over to Pilled. Click over to quitefrankly.tv if you can't find the Pilled, even though I give you the link. It's the extra innings have been fantastic. We had the performance with Keith the other night. We always take a lot of attention from the chat room. Last night I called into the show from my phone so that I could take you on Zoom. I can take you around the studio and also into the room that I was able to. I could do it right now. Actually, that's pretty cool. Do you think about it? But it's not ready. Tomorrow night I'm going to be going live extra innings.
Okay.
From in there again, while me and Mike and Anthony are actually putting up the sound diffuser panels.
Oh, nice. Okay.
The foam panels and things like that. So that'll be extra innings tomorrow. We've been having a lot of fun. You know, a lot of home video, things people have never seen before. That's the place to be to kick off, to end the nights. Seriously, if you haven't been there, you've been missing out. But hundreds have been having a great time. Good. So, let's see here. Another informative show with Frank and Jägermeister. Caulkmaster Red says, question for Jay. My wife has PCOS and we want to have kids soon. I was wondering if you have any tips for overall health and fertility. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, especially with PCOS, blood sugar. That is very often a state of insulin resistance. So I would get yourself an over-the-counter blood glucose monitor, check your fasting blood sugar, check the meals that you're consuming. So you check your blood sugar before a meal, and then you wait 2 hours after the meal and you check it. And if you're seeing wild swings and variations in the blood sugar, you check it before a meal and say, just for a round number, say it's 100. And then you check it after the meal and it's 160 or something like that. That's not probably a meal that agrees with your physiology at the moment. You want the smallest blood sugar swings possible, 20 points, maybe 30. But PCOS is essentially, the root of it is a state of insulin resistance. So think blood sugar first. Think, lower carb, think exercise. Those two things are really powerful. Think some degree of condensing your eating window. That's the first place that I would start. Go to the doctor and ask them to they'll pull your fasting glucose, but ask them to pull your hemoglobin A1C and your fasting insulin. They'll probably look at you like you got 10 heads, but that's valuable information, understanding the blood sugar picture. So that's where I would start.
Jay, I tell you, it can't happen fast enough where you are at the head of a practice. Forget about HHS.
You're going to run HHS?
Forget about it.
Right into the ground.
You're at the head of a practice of 50 other clinical nutritionists who are, obviously you're not all the same person, right, but there is an organization that you preside over that is just, I know you can, I want to send everybody I know to you, but I know you're one person. You and Jenny are two people.
Well, what we're doing is hopefully gonna alleviate that. We're working and we may even have some things to announce at the event in September to start bringing, quite frankly, members on for another, beta 2, because the beta 1 people are always going to be the beta 1 people, but we're going to do some things and they're coming soon. So
okay, yeah. Well, that's especially people with fertility questions.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there now who are starting to realize that the headlines about fertility issues on both sides of the coin, men and women, the hormone swings, that whole thing with testosterone drop, sperm count, sperm morphology, all these things that are not only coming to light and people are realizing is a real existential crisis for our species.
Right.
But they're also starting to, because of these revelations, wonder what the hell in our environment is doing this.
We talked about this on a few shows, right? I have a bunch of theories whether it's obviously nutrition, but you're also talking about chemicals like, pesticides like glyphosate that directly impacts the production of testosterone. It directly inhibits a protein called the STAR protein, which is the first and rate limiting step in steroidogenesis, the creation of steroid hormones. So glyphosate is a big thing. So we're all exposed to it, but if you're just not really caring what you're eating, or you're just thinking, oh, that's fine. Even if you're just buying non-organic produce. Like strawberries are one of the worst. If you're eating strawberries and they're not organic, you're guaranteed to be getting loads of glyphosate. I don't want to be the messenger, the bearer of bad news, but it's the truth. And I have to arm people with that knowledge. So there's so many that's just one thing. That's just glyphosate. Never mind the fact that, we're afraid of natural fats. We're afraid of saturated and animal fats, which is a huge problem. We're afraid of cholesterol. We're all on cholesterol lowering medication, despite the fact that all sex hormones are driven by the raw material, which is cholesterol. So, I mean, it's remarkable the ass backwards way we look at the human body and health. We always think we can outsmart it, but yeah, we could do a whole episode on that because I think fertility is fascinating and there are a lot of facets to it, both men and women.
So if I was going to eat a Twinkie, let's say I brought up that very disappointing experience from back in the 90s, going to my grandmother's house and rifling through her bread boxes and all that stuff. Because there's never bread in the bread box. There was coffee cakes, and all that stuff.
I remember that too.
When I saw a box of either Hostess coffee cakes, where they came two in a package. When I opened that box and I saw that white box and I knew it was coffee cakes, my heart would fly, and then I would see fat free, and my heart would sink. Because as much as I was just like, okay, let's just get no, I couldn't. Even as a kid, I refused to. I would rather have no coffee cake than that awful tasting fat-free coffee cake.
Yeah, I wonder what was in those.
Same thing with the Twinkies. There was like fat-free Twinkies. So
was it really?
It was just bad. As bad as they are for
I know. In general.
I was like, shit, man.
Fat-free Twinkies. All right. Well, when you read more super chats, I want to see if those actually existed.
Hold on. Let me see. I'll tell you right now.
Fat-free Twinkies?
Low-fat Twinkie. I'm looking at that right here.
That makes more sense.
There's probably. Hostess. This was... Hold on.
Low-fat coffee cakes. I mean, there was a thing they were using for a while to substitute for fat. I can't remember. The name is escaping me, but it ended up being pulled off the market because it caused a lot of gastrointestinal disaster pants issues.
Disaster pants?
Yeah. What was it called? It used to be in a lot of potato chips.
The story does not carry the product you are looking for.
Oh, no. We're never going to find it now.
Well, I have a whole, I mean, the Google Images came up with it. There it is right there, the low-fat Twinkies, Hostess, Lights.
Good God. When I type it in, all that comes up is recipes of people who want to make low-fat Twinkies. Yeah. That's weird. That must be my search engine algorithm because I'm always looking up recipes like that. But it's funny, the brand names didn't come up when I searched low fat or fat free Twinkies.
Well, I'm telling you, it was a horrible time.
It was. Remember, that's when Snackwell. So the dietary guidelines came in 1977, and then in the 80s and the 90s they really started to take off, and that's when the food industry was like, okay, we're going to make all your favorite foods and we're going to make them fat free. And then you're going to be dumb enough to think that means health. And that's what they did.
Hey, what do you think was fed to these pigs in California that were turned neon blue?
Methylene blue, maybe.
Somebody's asking you about that. Hold on.
What? I don't know. I didn't see this.
Wild pigs turn neon blue in California, triggering warnings. Game hunters have found startlingly neon blue flesh inside of wild pigs in California, triggering advisory statements on potential contamination. I'm not talking about a little blue, Dan Burton, owner of a wildlife control company, told Salvador Hernandez at the Los Angeles Times. I'm talking neon blue, blueberry blue.
Yeah.
An investigation by rodenticide poison. Wait. An investigation by local authorities found the dramatic color change was caused by rodenticide.
That's what I was going to say. There had to have been a synthetic pesticide to do something like that. There's no food that I'm aware of or anything they could be eating that would ever cause that. Got you.
The poison is often sold dyed for identification, and its use has been highly restricted in California since 2024. Hunters should be aware that meat of game animals such as wild pig, deer, bear, and geese might be contaminated. If that game animal has been exposed to rodenticides, says pesticides. Let's see, their exposure can be concerned for non-target wildlife in areas where applications occur in close proximity to wildlife habitat. And there it is. Though that's the bait, which I guess is rat poison or whatever else kind of rodents they're.
So what's the point? Were they trying to stop people from hunting and capturing and eating their own food?
No. I mean, I guess what they're saying is that they have these chemical wildlife groups globally have been saying stop on the chemical pesticides. Of course, that's what we're talking about with glyphosate.
Okay.
That's you and I. That's why I wanted to bring it up because you want to talk about incidental contamination. Obviously, this rat poison wasn't put out there for the pigs.
Wow.
It wasn't put out there for the geese or anybody else. But they've consumed it, and
so it's if anybody was curious what the mechanism of action was, because I am, it's an anticoagulant, and it works by interfering with the activation of vitamin K, critical component in the production of blood clotting factors in the liver.
Well, that's what all of them are. That's what all of them are.
What?
That's what warfarin is.
Yeah.
When I worked at the pharmacy, that was one of my first pharmaceutical red pill moments.
Yeah.
So I was in high school. We were just getting out of high school, going into college. And I'm sitting there one day, and I'm filling prescriptions, and I'm talking to the pharmacist, Ed. And Ed told me, you know what warfarin is, right? I said no. He goes, it's rat poison. And it's essentially the generic of Coumadin, and you're going to, and it helps people, thin if they have, strokes or clots or whatever, to kind of thin the blood out. And so I remember all of the warnings about bleeding and, clotting and all that stuff. But still, I said, "Oh, are you serious?" He goes, "Yeah." And so they gave it to rats. You found out about it, I think, in World War I. What was it?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think they used it for like rat mitigation in World War in the trenches.
Yeah.
Could have been either way, but the fact that they essentially the rats just kind of like drown in their own bodily fluids, and we felt, because we're so much bigger, we said, you know what?
Oh, this is great.
If we could just moderate how much of this rat poison we take, we might be able to prevent a stroke. And okay, listen, what can you say? There are people out there who are alive because of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
they're tools, right? They're overused tools, but they're tools. I think the biggest problem I have, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day. It's like, I know that I always sound like I'm just trashing the medical industry and trashing doctors, and it's actually not true, because most people in their lives have worked with a few doctors, maybe a handful if you've had to go through certain things, right? But I've worked with hundreds of doctors because of what I did at the hospital. I mean, just there alone, I worked with hundreds of doctors, not just my clients, but just interacting with them. And what I really learned was that, for the most part, they're very curious people, but they also just have, because they went through so much school and they have so much, invested in what they do. And part of what they do also relies on them to appear to be supremely confident in everything they do. A doctor rarely says, I don't know, even though many times they don't know, because no one can know everything. That's the biggest problem I have with doctors, is that they can't just honestly analyze the situation and say, maybe there's another way, or maybe, no, it's this way and that's it. I stopped learning in medical school, and that's a real tragedy, because the real learning comes after school, like it did for me. I know all the theory and all the biochemical pathways, but then when you get a person in front of you and it doesn't work the way it did in your friggin' textbook, what are you going to do? Well, a doctor who doesn't think for themselves goes, I'll just give them a higher dose, or I'll give them another medication, or I'll send them to another specialist who will give them another medication at a higher dose. But people like me and other good doctors go, I got to find a new way to do this. And those are the doctors usually online that you'll find that have left the field, because the field doesn't want people like that. It wants people to prescribe the rat poison at a higher dose.
Yeah.
That's all it wants.
Yeah.
So we have a real problem here, and then some people understand it and some people really don't.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to change topics a little bit here. It's 8:30. I can't wait for tonight's book club, because tonight is the night. I've been waiting for this for a long time. I always knew that I wanted to read The Body on air with a book club one day.
Okay.
This was the summer that we did it, and tonight is the night that we finally get to talk about the deer scene, the chapter in the
deer
book.
Scene.
It's so much better. It's so much. I mean, I don't know what the hell it is. There's whatever I found published online must have been abridged or something, because it's so much more beautiful. I can't wait to talk about it.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
But I wanted to change some topics before we do. I want to tip of the cap to Molly at Keto Brainz again. Molly will be on with us that last week before the Jamboree. On the 28th, you're going to come back.
Next week.
Yeah. Next Thursday.
Sorry.
She's gonna call in and hang out with us for a couple of minutes, because it's a week away. She's been such a great help in all this, and because she's been so wonderful, I want to remind everybody, if you use the Summer Frankly code, Summer Frankly, for anything that you do on ketobrainz.com, or you use the Frankly promo code, or if you have the recurring code that you get through your membership on for the sponsoring the show, any Quite Frankly code. This is what she wanted to let everybody know for the last 2 weeks of the month. You get a free bag of creatine sticks, packs, on all orders over $150. 3 free creatine packets with all orders, period, even if you don't make that $150 threshold. And then there's also a free bag of Keto Brainz creatine with all BPC orders from Mind Thy Mitochondria.
Ooh.
That's and listen, next week we have to talk about that, because there's a couple of people in this audience who have already sent in some really interesting healing testimonials from the audience with the peptides. And even Lauren has been making some remarkable notes on how it's affecting her as well.
Okay.
So I can't wait to do a follow-up conversation on this topic. Very short, just because it's interesting now, because we're almost like doing some clinical trials on air.
Well, the thing that Jen and I are going to announce that the beta group already knows about, but is that, that's one of the things, is that we're turning this into an education platform with a clinical option. And peptides, we have to be careful, like with Molly, we have to be careful what we say, because the oral peptides are one thing. The injectables are for research and education purposes only. But I'll tell you, the people that come and then join what we're doing are going to get a first-class education, and they're going to also have access to things that we personally vetted, not only that we vetted the companies, but also the API, like where the stuff came from. And when you're talking about, for education and research purposes only, injecting things into your body, you have to be very careful where you're sourcing things from.
Yeah.
So the audience is going to get an opportunity to get in on that if they're interested. So.
Well, there you have it. Just wanted to thank Molly, and
she's great.
Yeah, this has been fantastic. Okay, so listen to this. I had a couple of responses to the other night's show with Keith and my brother. We were talking about music in the old days and stuff.
I saw a lot of that.
I'm just gonna read a couple of these emails. Frank, yo, dude. We essentially have lived the same childhoods. Me in Hawaii, you in New York. I was huge into the hardcore punk metal scene. I played bass and sang vocals in a crust punk that's atrocities, and a metal band, Hammerhead.
Oh, nice. Good name.
Yeah, albeit I had zero talent. The punk metal scene was huge in the 90s in Oahu. It was always a place for bands to hit on tour, like the Warped Tour and Up in Smoke Tour. Blood for Blood played. I drank 40s with White Trash Rob before the show. Inevitably, it turned into a fight, as most shows did in those days. I saw everyone from the Casualties and Pennywise to Pantera and Metallica. Those days live in my head like they happened yesterday. Tonight's show brought back a flood of memories, almost to the point of getting choked up. Thanks for walking down memory lane. I walked down my own with you when I listened. Take it easy, my friend. We have more in common than you'll ever know. That's Andrew in Hawaii.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that is pretty cool.
Well, there's a lot of people who afterwards was like, I've been waiting for a show like this, man, and they would just want to talk about music. And I don't know. It's a big venting moment.
I'm going to tell you a really, really quick funny story, because it's not about dressing up as a character. It's It reminded me of, because the band I was in was more of like a straight rock band, and you've heard it, so you know, and the audience knows. But we got asked to play this gig one time in Rhode Island, and I even remember the name of the club was called Jared's, and we're like, all right, cool. So we never didn't know anything about this place, but we show up and we go downstairs, and it's a really cool club. It's like a door on the surface, and then you walk down this really long staircase. So the entire place is underground. That probably should have been our first clue. Totally underground, no windows, no nothing. We do a sound check. Everything's great, right? Everything's terrific. I was actually sick that day, and so I just remember feeling miserable, but we're going to do the show. The other bands show up, and we're going to do a sound check, and they're going to do their sound checks. Every one of them gets up there, and they, you know that scene in Ace Ventura when he's walking through the death metal club and Cannibal Corpse is playing?
Absolutely. they're playing Hammer Smash Face.
Yeah. So that's every other band besides us, right? So I'm sitting on my amp because I feel like shit, and I'm over in the corner because we'd already done our sound check, and I'm just sitting there, and I hear the bands one after the other sound check, and I'm looking at the guys, and I'm like, we got to get out of here. Like, we're dead. We're like STP, Soundgarden. So we, a lot of times we're the heavier of the rock bands, right? Not here, right? So we thought we were the crowd was going to kill us, rip us limb from limb. Here's the moral of the story, right? There's a lot of other funny parts, but I'll get right to the point. We stuck around. We're like, whatever. If this is our time to go, this is our time to go. So we play our set. The other bands and the crowd loved us because we were totally different. We were genuine. We were playing original music. The other bands were like in the front row. And at the end, I don't think I ever got more compliments from a crowd who wasn't even in. They were there to see all these other bands. I thought that was the coolest thing ever. They just loved a good band, and they didn't care that it wasn't as heavy as the bands they came to see.
I knew it.
Lesson learned. Lesson learned.
I knew that's where the story was going.
Did
because
you?
Because listen, that's where we usually showed up to a place, and it was the opposite for us.
Okay.
Where we're realizing that the other bands are a little bit more toned down.
Okay.
And here we are. We're going with the guttural screams, and we're going balls to the fucking wall.
Did you ever play Jared's? Imagine if we played the same venue.
No, but you know what I thought about when you talked about that? There's this one tiny club in New York City, and I forgot where the hell it is. Maybe Anthony would know what the hell it was. It was a Set the Charge show.
Mm-hmm.
But we were downstairs in a basement, but it was so OG. Like, it looked like a dungeon.
Yeah.
And we're talking about the old, early 20th century brick archways, underground.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, this is a little claustrophobic, but I can get down with this. It was cool down there.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, so the drums get set up over there. When I say that I had to set up the drums in a brick little corner where I can barely move, that in the Pyramid Club, or was it what? The Pyramid Club? What the hell is it called? I think it was the Pyramid. It was on Avenue A.
Oh man, I played a club on Avenue A. It was called the Spiral Lounge. You remember that?
Maybe
Spiral Lounge. Anyway,
but it was. I think it might have been the Pyramid Club.
Okay.
That place was the only place that I lost semi-consciousness playing.
Whoa.
It was so hot.
Oh.
And we had, it was so hot in there, and we played fucking ridiculous. and not only that, I never helped myself. I liked at that time I liked wearing like work boots when I played. And I played because I couldn't stand breaking my drumsticks so often that I would use these Vic Firth MS1 marching band sticks.
Oh my God.
So we're talking blast beats with these gigantic and it's all this shit. And there's this one point where I'm playing and I'm losing everything.
You're playing with telephone poles.
Yeah, with telephone poles in my hands, and I'm going ape shit back there. And at one point I'm going, all right,
it's over.
It's over. All right, that's it.
I'm going down.
This will be a story, and I swear to God, it was in and out.
Wow.
It was in and out. There was another time.
Wow, on drums too.
Yeah. So I knew that the metal bands would be more receptive to you guys. The other way around, you know, when we're at the, you know, we're as extreme as it gets. So taking it down is more like, oh, well, this is our time to chill, you know. But for everybody else to take them to our extreme is a little bit more of a tough call.
Yeah.
So I knew that you would probably be okay in that situation.
Wow.
Metalheads are actually very accommodating, especially
Extremely.
I'm telling you. But then there was one time we were set to go on, and of course we got pushed back to 1 a.m. It was in Queens. It was on Metropolitan Ave. It was this place called the Red Zone, and that's where there was a lot of heavy metal bands in there, but a lot of death metal, grindcore shit that was going on. So we're talking about. Wait, hold on, wait, hold on. Where the fuck is it? Here.
There.
No.
We're talking about people who are just saying, Anthony and I, we'd always joke about it for years on because they would access their diaphragm somehow. But they weren't saying anything. And we knew it.
Dude, just back to that other story, I knew this was coming with the I wish I can't really show everybody, with the guy, the singer of the death metal band that sound checked right after us. I knew it was over for us when he grabbed the mic that I had just used to do our sound check, and he literally got into that stance where he was about to digest the microphone, and I looked over and I was like, and then it was that, and I saw that.
You have to get up. I don't know. Maybe it opens them up somewhere.
Yeah, I saw the stance, and I was like, "Oh, we're screwed." That was so funny.
Oh wee, and so that was a lot. We did a lot of that stuff. I remember one time at the Red Zone. It's probably like 2003 or so, and my right kick drum became detached from the pedal. So I saw as it was going on, we had this big show. We had this big thing. We're in the middle of a set, and I couldn't just stop and reattach the pedal.
Of course not.
So with some things, I'm trying to play with my left foot. But there's a lot of double kick you have to do there. And I remember one point I had this desperate idea that what if I actually with my foot kicked the kick drum? And I was like, so stupid. I laughed to myself immediately. I dismissed it. I said, what the hell? Was that going to be another story I can tell? But hold on. To Hammer Smash Face.
Classic.
And Ace Ventura is walking through the club.
Love that scene.
And I love this scene, yes.
So good.
Because this is one of my... I love this riff. Hold on, wait. Nobody's going to like it at home, but wait. You can hear it. See, that's us at 1 o'clock in the morning in Queens. But it's this riff that just is. I'll always love this riff. Hold on, wait, ready? Wait.
I know what you're talking about. The main part. Excuse me.
I love it. Thank you.
Have you seen? Yeah. Thank you.
What's the password?
Great.
New England clam chowder.
Is that the red or the white?
I can never remember that. First of all, Ace Ventura was my entire personality for 3 years. My mother hated me.
I can understand that, but I mean that for that movie was life altering. I think when I first saw it, I laughed so hard I was drooling at some points. I couldn't close my mouth. I thought that was and he was just such a one of a kind phenomenon when that movie came out.
Oh, when my mother and I, my mother and my brother, we sat down, we watched Ace Ventura for the first time. We went to Blockbuster, we rented it, we brought it back home, and we're watching it. We're having a little bit of a movie night with ourselves in the basement, and we put it in. That will always be a memory. I know that I lost my breath laughing with my mother, that we were laughing that much at the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the police station when he talks through his ass cheeks.
Oh, that? See, okay.
That was the first, because it hit us. It came out of nowhere.
Excuse me.
Aguado.
I'd like to ask you a few questions.
Especially at the end.
Do you have a minute?
Perhaps some Banaka.
I hope so.
No, the scene that got me, is, I mean, it's everyone. I feel like it's everyone's favorite scene. It's the scene where he gets committed.
Oh yeah, Shady Acres or
I
something like
mean,
that.
come on. When he does the reverse button hook pattern in slow-mo and he does it, and then he does it in reverse and he's talking. That dude, I just never seen anything like it. And I will never forget that movie. Forever will have a special place in my heart.
It still holds up. It's still very
incredible.
funny.
Yeah.
Still very funny.
He doesn't do anything like that much anymore, but man, it was brilliance in the 1990s. There's a lot of great music, a lot of great movies, a lot of good stuff going on in the 90s.
We peaked. A lot of people say we peaked.
Society, we peaked.
We
yeah,
peaked.
because then 9/11 and everything went down the shitter.
Yeah.
Another quick music story. Do you remember, this is not funny at all. This is tragedy, but it's one of those weird, twists of fate. Everybody remembers, probably most people remember the station fire in Rhode Island where Great White, the band, played in the station fire and all those people died. We played that same exact venue just days before.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was pyrotechnics.
Yeah. And I remember going there and we went in, we loaded our stuff up backstage. And I remember commenting, the drums were this is what made me think of it. The drums were in an alcove that was completely surrounded by that sound insulation, which was obviously flammable. The entire stage. I remember commenting because they had created a great sound deadening on stage and the sound is actually pretty good, but they had just put this obscene amount of foam and obviously it wasn't flame retardant and the pyrotechnics. So when it happened, I was like, I know how that happened. And I also know that venue, why no one was able to get out, because the main door out was really the only door. The back door was blocked off by a lot of that sound. Like once you were in there, the sound deadening stuff, the whole wall looked black. You wouldn't be able to find the door. And there was no exit. There was no exit sign that I remember. So when that happened, I was like, for days, because I think there's a few people that not that I knew directly, but knew people who knew people that died that night. And to have played that within just a few short days, I believe, it was wild.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Wild.
That was big news in high school.
It was. It was
that happened.
So sad.
Right.
Yeah. Great White, I think, was the band.
It was Great White.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs to put on when I'm starting a long road trip or something like that is Great White's "Rock Me."
Ah.
You ever listen to that?
I don't know.
I played it the other. That's one of my.
Before we go tonight, we got a brandish Coverdale page for the audience because I mentioned it last time. We should throw just a little bit of Coverdale page on.
What's that?
That's the David Coverdale, Jimmy Page.
Oh yes.
We could, just to give them a taste in case they've never heard of it before.
You got it. Oh, you know what? I have a couple other things. Let's blow through some things real quick.
Okay.
Before we lose it all. Here's another email.
Oh yeah.
We
That's
didn't
where
talk
it
about
started.
CBGBs. We didn't talk about anything.
Oh, this always happens, Frank.
We need another hour. Let's see. Frank, last night's show, Dan brought back so many memories. Thanks. The Pit Talk reminded me of my several trips to Chicago to the House of Blues because they brought in death metal bands. I saw Cannibal Corpse several times, starting in 1998 with the Gallery of Suicide tour. What a pit. I ate shit, but I was picked up immediately. That's when you're in a good one. The most brutal pit I was at was Morbid Angel and Nile. Felt like I was getting smashed to death. Later, Nate. After a couple of minutes in Slayer, I said, this is not worth it. I want to enjoy the show, and I'm not doing it anymore.
I'm not going to die for Slayer.
Although listen, we saw it. That was one hell of a night. It was Pantera. It was on the Reinventing the Steel tour in 2001, just maybe about a month or so before 9/11. It was Pantera. It was Slayer. They were supporting, and they were premiering all new music from an album that would be released on 9/11. God Hates Us All.
Aye.
And brutal. They came out playing Disciple, and it was fucking. I was, what is this? It was incredible. That song, for as sacrilegious as all those songs are, man, when it is just like, damn.
Yeah.
But Morbid Angel, whenever Pantera went on the road, they brought Morbid Angel anywhere. So I've seen them at least a couple of times.
Wow.
And so that was a pretty whoever that was also Static X that night.
Static X. Wow.
Yeah, Wisconsin Death Trip, and then there was One other band that just everybody was just clowning on. I think their name was Scrape. They got
the short end of the stick. Another quick CBGB story was we played CBGB for the first time the month after 9/11. It was very strange. Very strange. Yeah.
Was anybody there?
It was a Tuesday night, which was,
open mic?
No. We got booked. But I don't know if you ever tried to book CBGB. I mean,
yeah. Well, that was the thing. We were on a wait list to get into an open mic. You have to kind of like sign up for those things. You get maybe a 20-minute set, and based on what you do there, maybe you'll get an opening slot on a Friday or whatever. And usually those are all like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we'd go, and the whole place they closed their doors before we actually even had a.
This was a legit booking through the booking agent, but you had to call them. There was one day you could call, and the line. It was the old school. There's no call waiting. The line was busy all day. And so me and the bass player, we would call from our jobs every Tuesday, call CBGB. And you're like, and if you get through and they got your demo and you were like, hey, this is my band. We'd like to book a show. And they would throw out like Tuesday at 7:30 and this date. And you didn't even you had to say yes or they just hung up the phone on you and moved to the next person. And that's what happened to us. So we just got random Tuesdays and like the whole band had to pack up in a van. And I know we're going to run out of time here, but we have to at some point, Frank, you and I, we have to talk about Broccoli Rob.
Oh, we will.
That is an insane serendipitous coincidence in our lives. We did not know each other, but this is crazy. When I heard you say that on the air, I almost fell off my couch.
I told Anthony, everybody, if you remember on Monday night with Anthony and Keith in here, we were talking about just, learning lessons along the way. One of them being that Talent 2K. We're going to get you signed, Broccoli Rob Productions and all that. Jay had an experience with Broccoli Rob. We'll talk about it when Anthony's in.
Okay.
I don't know when the hell that'll be, but we'll do that.
Holy mackerel.
Now, when I said I have a CBGB story, we never played there. But in 2000, when was this? In 2014 or 2015.
Okay.
Me, Anthony, Tom, and Derek set the charge. We recorded a song called "Dogs on the Deegan," and we were thinking. And Anthony, obviously, Anthony was he was still just so growing so massively back then. And and at the same time, down in Chelsea Piers in the city, they had just opened up the New York YouTube studios, where you can go in there. They had everything. They had that red light cameras, whatever the hell they had. They had an entire facility set up where if you had a certain amount of subscribers, you can go into these facilities. You can have access to the best cameras in the world.
Red One, I think. Yeah.
Red One, yeah. And there's all these different sets. There's a set where it's like a diner booth, or there was a set where it was a subway car or whatever. You can do whatever you want over there. YouTube Studios in Chelsea. It's probably not. I don't even know if it's there anymore. Anyway, they told Anthony, "Hey, anytime you want to come over here, you sign. We'll even get you some cameos from other YouTubers in the area." So he said, "Let's do this. Let's film a Set the Charge music video there." And we said, let's do Dogs on the Deegan. And the reason why it was special is because in this, it was a limited time set, and it was a CBGB set.
Wow.
But it was not just a recreation. It was the actual bar.
Whoa.
And it was paneling. It was all the stickers from the walls. They took paneling. They preserved a lot of...
I was going to say, because they was gone by then.
Yeah. They preserved the original pieces from CBGB, and they recreated it in this set at the YouTube space. So I said, well, hey, let's finally play CBGB. so this is a little bit of it. Hold on. There's Mike.
Dude, that is what CBGB looked like.
It's the walls. Hold on, look at that. Where I want you to see the once you see the bar. Tommy Verge.
Or better yet, execute.
That guy's in a Thriller video.
I said it. We said, hey, get more groovy with it as it goes on. Where is it?
As for our lives, imagine where we'd go. As for our lives, imagine what we know. For a split second, our eyes turn to you. Forgot our problems are funny, I never know. It may be pointless, but important me to see.
I'm trying to see.
I'm trying to find a bar scene.
The simple nature of your finite majesty.
Hold on,
Wow.
let's-
So it looks like
yeah.
they actually even. So if you've never played CBGB, you wouldn't know this, but standing on the stage, normally monitors for the band, especially for the singer, are floor wedges, right?
Yeah.
CBGB didn't have that. Their stage was completely open, and I was looking to see if they recreated this. They had side fills that hung from the ceiling for the people on the front of the stage, and the bar was on the left hand side. If you're on the stage, the bar is on the left hand side. And
No, they put this one. If you're on the stage, it was definitely to the right.
okay.
It was stage
Yeah.
stage that was stage
Stage
right.
right, yeah. So it was on the left, and it ran the entire length. CBGB was a bowling alley. It was a very narrow bowling alley, but it didn't take much to fill it up. That's the thing. So like on a Tuesday, I think we might have had, and the thing is, some nights it was like 16 plus, which is crazy. Like it wasn't bar ages. It was like 16 plus.
It usually
So-
in a lot of places, even when we were doing things, even around here, there was plenty of places that was 21 to drink, 18 to party.
Right.
And
Those were great because you could get more people.
No, absolutely. Especially when we none of us were 21 yet.
Right. Yeah.
All of most of those dozens of those first gigs that we played in our band, we were all under the age of 21.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, especially when you're playing at the real dumpy dives, you're going to find somebody that'll serve you. But other than that, it's just like, okay, well, how the hell are we going to get in?
Yeah.
How are we going to get this stuff in here? We thought about that a lot. But you have no clue the things. What we did to sell tickets. We're essentially just buying tickets.
Right.
Especially when it came to those bigger shows up at the Chance Theater. Like when we had an opportunity to get on with Strapping Young Lad, or when we opened up for Soulfly or Hatebreed or all those other bands, and we knew that there was going to be 800 to 900 people in that room,
yeah.
and we had to get in there, dude.
Oh.
I bought those tickets.
Yeah, you do whatever you need to do.
Oh yes, you do.
Yeah.
Everything.
You go broke.
Everything you need to do.
Yeah. It's,
Nothing sexual.
No.
But
But if you had to.
It depends. I don't.
No, it was a great time. It's frustrating, and you really do believe you sacrifice a lot of your youth thinking, because I go back to that. People think that it's all, it's just fun, but it's way more work. Oh, it's just as much work as it is fun, right? Like rehearsals, you guys know, I'm sure. Rehearsals, there are nights where you kind of like are just kind of pissed off at your bandmates, and you're just not like, you're not getting along, and rehearsals suck, and like that just happens. It's just the way it is. And you're in a fight, and you're just like, I can't wait to get the hell out of here. I mean, it's like I always say, it's like being in a relationship with whatever. We were a 4-piece, so with 3 other guys, and it's like, it doesn't always work. And sometimes you want to get as far, especially when you're in a van driving down to New York, and ironically, we stayed in the Roosevelt, which is no longer able to be stayed in.
No. Now, you can stay there if you're not of this country.
Oh, right. Yeah. And we thought it was the nicest hotel in the world when we got here. I mean, because, we'd ever stayed in Holiday Inns or something, and the Roosevelt was nice. Like the the foyer and the whole like lobby area was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was great, man. It was such a
Well, we have so much more to talk about.
I know.
I have a bunch of links here that I thought would be fun, but we can do that next week.
oh my, it's
And-
9 o'clock.
Yeah, I got to go do this other stuff. So
Okay.
let me do the super chats real quick.
Okay.
ST says Jay was talking about bathrooms. The quirkiest bathroom I ever used was at Bar 89 Mercer Street, New York, unisex. Oh boy.
That's dangerous.
Transparent doors turned opaque once locked.
Oh,
okay.
they do that in Japan, I think.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jay Britt says Olean or Olestra
Yes.
was the fake fat
Yes.
back in 90s.
Yes.
Olestra.
Yes. It was in like a lot of potato chips. And I
Yeah.
remember I had a friend who had a few too many of those. When you get your Subway sandwich and you get your bag of chips, he had a few too many of those and he had an Olestra problem in the bathroom. That's why they took it off the market. It was, disaster pants.
Okay. John Volts says, I love the show. Not allowed to say stuff, but good to see you and Jay. What does that mean?
Not allowed to say stuff?
Not allowed to say what, John? I don't get
It's
it.
too late. You already did.
I know. Stove says, Jay Gulinello night, bonus, awesome guest tonight, Frank. Thank you always. Also, what time does the Friday pre-event start?
Oh.
Hey, Friday night and the Saturday night are both, doors will be open from 6 to 11. And check your emails. Everybody who bought tickets, you just received your first prep email on things, on times and places and dress codes and all that stuff. It's really fun, and you'll get another one with some more information next week just to make sure that we have checked all our boxes. So go and look at that. And that's it. Okay, Northern Pike says longevity could be obtained easier if hybrids of primate DNA or transhumans like Dr. Falsey, Jay Brennan, Bill Gates, and Obama, Adam Scalose did not exist.
The greatest hits. Yeah, you're
Satire,
right.
Thank you for that.
That's true.
Pike. Well, there you have it.
Very true.
Tina over on Gold Pills sent a can. Brew Bark says, what are Jay's thoughts on methylene blue? Well, we can do that some other night.
Oh, yeah. It's
Weren't you doing some experimenting with it?
Yeah.
All right. Does it continue? Have you?
I'm doing too many experiments, so I didn't do a long experiment with methylene blue, but it has some utility in certain instances. Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Delona says, Frank, please read my email to John Jonah Jameis Gulinello. Which email is that, Delona? I have a couple of things. We just didn't have a lot of time tonight.
I'll be back next week.
Also, Sam Miller, the Posture Dojo, the scoliosis guy,
Yes.
he will be on with us.
Next week, right?
No, September 25th.
Oh.
So we got some time.
Okay.
Maybe you can come back for that.
Okay.
That would be great. All right. So I got him. And I got a bunch of other people coming on that are really exciting. So
I'm excited.
I'll talk about that tomorrow. Let's see. It's G. Edward Griffin is tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Whoa.
G. Edward Griffin is tomorrow.
Wow.
So
You're going to talk to him about the medical industrial complex, right?
I would like to.
Yeah.
Please send me any questions you have.
Okay.
Give me 2 or 3 nice
think of some
questions.
things.
Everybody at home, whatever you want with G. Edward Griffin. I never touched any of his medical industrial complex stuff before, so I want to do that. Let's see. Amethyst Cat, we love when Junior is in as co-pilot. Happy hump day, fellas. Sentinel says, now I want a Twinkie. Damn it. No, I don't need a Twinkie. Curious Patriot says, Frank, when you consider the menace that wild pigs, not native, by the way, have become, I would not be so sure it wasn't meant for the pigs and not mere rodents. Just saying it. Love Jew Gulinello and you. Well,
I've never been called a Jew before. That's
I know.
interesting.
Well, I've been called a crypto Jew before. I said, what does that mean? Does that mean crypto? And then I realized it's like, no, it was it's crypto meaning secret.
Oh.
I'm a secret Jew.
And a cult.
Yes. It was
cult Jew.
something else.
Yeah.
But as far as Curious Patriot goes, some of my favorite videos on the internet are the wild boar helicopter huntings. You ever see that?
I don't think so.
Especially down in Texas and other places, they'll go on into like helicopters.
Wow.
At night, and it'll just be like tracer rounds into all these pigs because they have to be taken out
To thin the herd.
They destroy everything.
Yeah.
There's also a couple of really great channels on YouTube of these guys who are called in to thin coyote herds too, near farms, and they'll just be setting up at night. You'll see coyotes pop.
Wow.
All night vision. Then there's these other guys that get called in to clear out barns of just dozens of rats, and they're using almost like airsoft. Maybe they're 22s, but they could be just like pellet guns that are just really interesting stuff out there with invasive species. And then, not to mention what we already know about Florida with all those canals and stuff. There, you get paid by the pound down there if you are able to clear out and turn in iguana.
Wow.
Because that's bad.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Sean Joe, thank you. Vesper says you are a god among men. I don't know who that's intended for. Not me.
Definitely not me.
Porpoiseful says great show. Thank you. Well, thank you guys, one and all. I'm going to release the scratch-in right now, and then we are starting book club. Hey. So you guys and gals, get ready for book club. It's going to be a good one. Lindsay Sharman is coming on very soon. John Volt says, walking slow, breathing heavy. You can see the death sweat. I'm here for the sole purpose of your death. Most metal lyrics ever. Oh, okay. So it was lyrics. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
No. Oh, no. The not allowed to say stuff thing was not in the metal lyrics. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Until next time, thanks, Jay, for coming by.
You got it, man.
And everybody check out Verso. They're in the description below. Click through that link so you're already set up to get 15% off on. Listen, try some evening being. Couple it with some morning being. Like Jay said, the price shakes down to about $2 a day. When you think about that latte factor in your life, even if you go out and get a McDonald's coffee, which is you're paying more than.
I'm gonna have some evening being when I go home tonight because I haven't. So I will have had 3 of the 4 products on my fasting day.
Well,
so there you go.
Continue. Yeah. We will talk soon. Thanks, everybody. Good night.
I'll catch you on the